What's up, everybody, and welcome in to another edition of Big Man on Basketball. It is Thursday, December 15th, 2022. We are here live, as always, Monday through Friday, 4 o'clock on the Barstool Sportsbook YouTube channel. I hope you're all having a great day wherever you are. We are back at it and better than ever. However, we're going to get into some things first before we start the show. At around 4:20, our good friend Jim Root will join us. We'll talk about a very shortened and condensed college basketball card. It is finals week for the most part in college basketball, and we are going to have much shorter cards. We'll get to that. We'll talk a little bit about Thursday night football as well. I do like this game tonight. It's been a rough week, as many of you know, for me, from a gambling standpoint, really the last couple of weeks. But we'll try to trudge forward and try to have some success as we head into conference play and the holidays. That said, I do want to get started first today with a message. And, people have asked my opinion on this, and I'm going to give it to them now. I woke up this morning and I received news that, I got to be honest, I wasn't too surprised by. Rico is back. And I'm going to reflect just a little bit on kind of what went on and what has happened, and really kind of put my line in the sand. We've done this before. We've been back and forth on this. We've talked bad. We've talked good. And I've noticed today that a lot of apologies are being doled out, and they should be. Rico Bosco has done a lot of things to a lot of people. I've done a lot of things to a lot of people. I've generally put my hand out, and we've moved past it. Now, there is one person that has not apologized, that he has not apologized to, and it's me. I'm not going to sit here and ask for his forgiveness. I'm not going to ask for him to give me his forgiveness. But I do think, to me, he needs to apologize to the person that, let's just be honest, he's probably hurt more than everybody. Going after people's families, going after things that are just off limits. I'm not here to talk about past shit. I'm here to move on. I've said that many times. I've stuck my hand out in friendship and as a man many times, and I have not had any respect or response from him. So here's what I'm going to say. I've been called some awful things by him in the past, but I'm willing to forgive all of them. I've been called a rapist. I've been called a child abuser. I've been called a woman abuser. I've been called a terrorist. I've been called a murderer. I've been called a criminal. I've been called all sorts of things by this dude. And you know what? On this day, December 15th, 2022, today's a new day. Because guess what? You're back. You came back. You can't throw out this whole, I'm better than everybody now. I'm on the varsity team and you're not. That's over. We're past that. And when I walk into that office on Monday and Tuesday, because I have to be there, because I have some things that I need to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk straight to where you are. I'm going to put my hand out and I'm going to ask for you to shake it. And we're going to move on once and for all from this shit. And I'm going to tell you now, if you don't shake it, you're dead to me. I won't sit down at any point. This is your opportunity. I'm not going into another year and a new day for you and for me with this shit hanging over me. I'm done. I'm tired of it. I want to move on. I want you to have success doing what you do, and I want to have success doing what I do. Nobody's better than anybody here. You know what we all are, though? We're all with a group of very talented people. And you have the opportunity, like me, to make your own way in the world at Barstool. And for too long, you've prevented certain people and certain things from happening. Why don't you look in the mirror and just admit that it's time to move on with me, with Cons, with all of us. It's time to move on. It's time to stop the charade of, I can't do this because he's there. I can't be at this if he's there. Nothing. Done with it. I'm going to walk up to you and I'm going to put my hand out. And if you don't shake it, well, that's that. There won't be a second time with me. I'm done with this. If that's how you want it to be, clearly maybe you haven't changed. But you've said a sorry to everybody. The only one you haven't said sorry to is me. I've said sorry to you many times. Okay, I wasn't the one that sent people after you. I wasn't the person that put photos of my mother and sister on the internet. I wasn't the person that put that I was an alleged rapist on the internet. That was people that likely were sent by you to do that. Now, I don't have proof of that, but I think we all know. But I'm willing to let it go. I want to move on from this. I want you to enjoy your time at Barstool, and I want to enjoy my time at Barstool. And good for all the people that have forgiven you. I'm here to forgive you too. And I know you don't want to hear this, but the last thing I'm going to say is you can say all you want about me. I'm not on your level. I'm JV. I'm this. I'm that. I won't be in the same room with that person. But there are two people right now at Barstool that bring out the best in you. Your talent, your ability, the things you have that make you so great to a lot of people. Dave and Dan. And I know you don't want to hear this, but we all know it. You know the other person that would bring the best out in you? Me. You know it and I know it. You're more like me than you know. I admit I'm a fucking lunatic. I do stupid shit a lot of the time. I say stupid shit a lot of the time. Remind you of anybody else? That's the thing you don't get. That the difference between you and me, though, is you say you're all about money in the end. You're all about success. You got to take the hand. And everybody will tell you that. So what I'm going to do is on Monday, when I walk in, I'm going to walk up to you. I have no problem doing that. I'm not scared. I'll fight when I need to fight. I'll be good when I need to be good. I'll make peace when I need to make peace. So it's your opportunity. Your final apology is to me, and I'll damn sure give it to you as well. And we can move on, and we can bicker, and we can have fun, and we can make up and move on just like everybody else does. Because that's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to go to work and enjoy what you do. I'm supposed to go to work and do what I do and enjoy what I do. And we're all supposed to enjoy what we do. There's too much going on in the world, especially my world, to worry about this shit anymore. I'm tired of it, man. We're adults. It's time to move the fuck on, regardless of what happened in the past. All right. Let me say hello to some people. We have a lot of people here. And I know a lot of you people will have questions. Look, guys, I have no idea what the future holds. We all know, even the most powerful people at the company know that, Rico and I would make a very good show together. It wouldn't make me more happy than to do a college hoops podcast with him and Dan or whoever wants to be a part of it. All I want to do is talk about things I enjoy. That's all. I don't have any issue with people. I just want to talk about shit that I can enjoy and have some success at what I'm doing. That's all. That's all I want. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it today. I'll do it tonight. I don't care. I've talked about it. I've had dreams about this shit. I've had dreams about him calling me and saying, let's be cool. Let's cut this shit out. Never happened. But nobody wants to go through this. This beef shit is dead, man. There ain't nothing in it. There's nothing in it good for anybody. And there's nobody that has a bigger beef at that company than you and me. Nobody. So, shout out to the people that were able to, listen, I'm going to tell you now, and whether you want to believe me or not, if I ever found out somebody did that to my wife, believe me, it wouldn't be as easy as it was for you. Because I would go to the real demented side. And I don't think anyone would blame anybody for that either. When that shit happens, when you cross that sort of line, well, then it's almost, nothing really matters. So shout out to all the people that are moving on here. I think it's time once and for all that we do it as well. So, yeah, a lot of people here. I thank you for watching. I'll take some of your questions here, and then we'll get down to some hoops talk and some football talk. Bosco is back. Give him a call right now and make amends. No, this is something we do in person, man. This ain't something we do over the phone. This ain't something we do online. This is something that I walk up to him and here's another thing. If you do take a handshake from me, what that means is hopefully down the road, you and I can sit in a room together and we can hash this shit out. I know it's not going to get hashed out overnight, but we need to make moves here. 2023 is a new year for everybody. We all have the opportunity to be different people every year, change things that aren't working for us. You got the support system, man. And this is the human mind. These are the people that are willing to say, you know what? You may be wrong me in the past. Maybe I wronged you in the past, but we're going to move forward with it. So I guess the ball's in your court, my man. What's up, Jay Daniel? How you doing, brother? What's up, Keith? How you doing, my man? I appreciate that. What's up, Schnogler? I like that name. What's up, MD? I see you here every day. What up, JH? Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. By the way, guys, as well, I don't want to be this person, but I'm going to be this person. I wrote a blog today. It means a lot to me. Please go read it. It's something that's been going on in my life for the last couple of months, and it's something that I'm dealing with, and it's holidays, so as I said in the title, Christmas is a little different for me this year. So please go check it out. It'll shed some light on me and my life and me as a person and my family. So please go read that. I think you'll get something out of it. Life's too short to worry about this dumbass shit. Yeah, man. Lay down the swords. Even the Bloods and the Crips, ceasefire. The mafia. They break bread occasionally and eventually. You know who was killed in 1985 tomorrow? Paul Castellano. Eventually, those families made peace, moved on. Shouldn't have happened. Probably could have happened another way. Eventually, this shit, you move on from it. That might have been a bad representation or a bad connection, but whatever. All right. He called Gottlieb live on air. Good for him. I didn't know that. Kyle Kramer, what's up, my brother? Let me get my guest on. I want to have him join me here, and we'll do what we're here for, and that's talk a little hoops. Nope, I'm not calling anybody. I'll be there Monday. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Well, I'm not sure if you love me because you're always in here talking. Chandler, what's up, bro? How are you? Nadu down bad? No. I'm good. I'm always good, man. I'm just making my point known. Appreciate that, Andrew. Appreciate that. All you got to do is go on barstoolsports.com. You'll see it. Appreciate that, H3. Thank you so much, man. All right, let me get my guest on. He'll be joining me in just a second. We'll talk a little college hoops. Not a lot of games to get into tonight. So this is obviously a good time to kind of talk about some things. If I didn't get to your question, I'll get to it maybe later. You're welcome to drop it here. Is Purdue actually legit enough to be number one? Of course. What's up, Bing? How you doing, bro? What's up, Prank? What's up, DB? No, I have not been blocked, man. I've not been blocked. Appreciate that, TJO. Thanks, man. Hey, Jim, how are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Pretty good. Jim Root, 3-Man Weave joining us. You can follow Jim on Twitter at Second Chance Points. Jim, when I texted you this morning, you said, I wish we had a better card to talk about.
Yeah. And that's we got to hold on until Saturday. That's when the good card comes. Yeah. But we gotta be patient, wait for it, and then it'll hit us Saturday.
Well, Jim, I'm gonna be honest. I'm getting crushed right now. I mean, I've had a real rough couple of weeks with these games, man. And
my best bets on Field of 68 have been in a rut. So
yeah, it's just the time, man. You got finals, you got all this crazy stuff going on. It's been tough. I mean, you look at this week, man. Louisville has won a game, right? I mean, you have Houston, who has been nails in the first half this year, struggle. They have 17 turnovers against a team that should never turn you over 17 times. What is going on in college basketball?
I wish I knew. Maybe it is finals week. I think there's some weirdness with motivation angles, and some teams are rested, some teams are not. Some teams are traveling while they're trying to do finals and stuff. The crowds aren't as strong during this kind of time, and won't be over holiday break. So there is probably something to be said for tiptoeing carefully, walking on glass a little bit during the slates. But if you circle one you think you like, you got to keep firing. It's not going to turn around by sitting on the sideline.
No, you're right. And I think for me, I think occasionally you'll need like a day or two to just recalibrate, but I think you're right. And that's always kind of how you have to be. You don't want to take weeks on end with this because it's not just going to figure itself out. You need something good to go your way. I'll admit, I mean, last night I had a kind of a consolation prize late night. I had St. Mary's. They almost tried to blow a cover, but they got the cover. Laying 12.5, they win by 13. Maybe that's the springboard. I don't know. But, like, for instance, last night, okay, Mississippi State had not allowed 55 or more points in any game this year out of 9. Guess what team scored more than 55?
Those deadly Jackson State Tigers. That's right.
State. And to make matters worse, I think they had 52 with 10 minutes to go and only scored 59. Crazy. Just disgusting. Brutal stuff. But let's get into a very small card tonight. I guess we'll kind of start with the bigger teams here on the card. Lehigh and Wisconsin. Wisconsin 23.5, total 132.5, 133. This kind of screams to me as a spot where Lehigh just kind of runs into a brick wall where you want to try to maybe get out in some transition, maybe get the tempo heated up. That ain't going to happen against Wisconsin generally. I also look at Lehigh and I think to myself, what do you do against Wall here? I mean, they've had some issues against some way worse bigs. I think someone dropped 40 on them early this season. So I'm kind of looking at maybe an under. I kind of felt like this was 75-55, something like that. What do you feel on this one?
Yeah, I backed Lehigh against Virginia Tech, who they're not like a clone of Wisconsin, but they're similar in that they're like half court execution based. They're not wildly athletic, but they kind of kicked Lehigh's butt, and I could see Wisconsin doing the same thing here. I made this number lower, but it was one I looked at and I was like, Lehigh traveling during finals week. Are they really going to be locked in for this? I don't know if Wisconsin will be either, to be perfectly honest, but yeah, this one's tough to read for me. It just Lehigh so far this season against Syracuse and Virginia Tech kind of got buried early. Now they're playing a third power conference team. I could see them getting buried early again.
You look at St. Francis of PA. They played this Lehigh team. Josh Cohen, the big at St. Francis, dropped 40.
Cohen said 40 twice now. He did it to Hawaii.
Right.
That guy's ridiculous so far.
This season. Big time player. And you got to wonder, what is Wall going to do here? I mean, not a great matchup here to me. And a team like Lehigh, running into a team like Wisconsin, it's just a rough matchup for these types of teams. Now, again, that really hasn't mattered this week because I'm sure Lehigh tonight won't miss and they'll lose by 4 or something, right?
Do you care about like Lehigh hasn't played in 12 days? Do you ever do you do a rust versus rest thing when you handicap, or does that just not matter?
No, because I think a lot of the time these kids just want to get out and play. I mean, North Carolina or who was it again that played North Carolina A&T the other night. Yep. They had been off, I think, for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I thought that would hurt them. It didn't hurt them at all.
Yeah. No, I don't think it hurts these teams. And someone's making a joke about finals week. Come on, fellas. I mean, if you don't think that affects not only the home environment, but these kids in general, I'm not really sure what you're going on there. I mean, it's surely a problem. It's always been a problem. And there's always a lot of volatility around this time.
Results, like I've been, handicapping and betting pretty intensely college hoops for 5 years now. And results can get a little wonky during this time because you just don't know where people's heads are at before the holidays with finals and stuff. I know it sounds crazy to some people, but I swear it matters, and it just makes things a little tougher to predict at times.
And as you know as well, I mean, I think if you have interest in maybe Lehigh, I think you're hoping here that, this is a low possession game, right? And there's just not enough possessions to cover 25, right? Or 20, whatever it is. You have one by 25 essentially here. This is an interesting one. I guess if I had to play it, I would lean under. I think 133. I think this is kind of a game where whiskey kind of gets around 75 and, Lehigh's at like 55, 60, something like that.
Yeah. I just looked, I didn't realize Wisconsin's played, 8 straight games against top 100 KenPom teams. Now they have one outside the 300s. Like, are they just going to sleepwalk through it? Or is it, this is easy, we're going to destroy these guys? Like that's the kind of mental thing you've got to figure out and read. And it's tough.
I remember, I think it was last year, they had a game against Arkansas Pine Bluff. They were down at the half, Wisconsin, I believe. So there are times where these teams will sleep against these types of groups. A quick ask from you on this one. So, look, Stony Brook sucks. I mean, You talk about a team that is not good. I mean, Stony Brook has I think they have one win this year against the Division I competition. This is a bad team, right?
They're bad, but they're less bad now.
Right. And is Wagner a team that should be laying 6.5 to anybody? I mean, this is not a vintage Bashir Mason team that has some real talent that can. I mean, they're not going to compete in the NEC. They're not a good basketball team. They don't score efficiently. They get nothing on the glass. They're not a good defensive team. They're going to try to turn the pressure up against you a little bit, and that could be a problem here. But I guess, did you see 6.5 points difference? Do you even get involved with a game like this?
I took plus 7.5. Got an early number. I think Stony Brook is maybe going to tick up a little bit because of Aaron Clark, the Sacred Heart transfer that they just got healthy. They started the year with like 4 guys out, and I think 2 or 3 of them are out for the entire season, so they're not coming back. But Clark was like a 17 points per game guy at Sacred Heart. He's their highest usage guy already. He's racking up assists for them so far this year. I think he's going to at least make them competent, and they did beat Sacred Heart last game, a little bit of an Aaron Clark revenge game. I think there's something there where they're not as bad as they've shown because they finally have like an actual alpha on the lineup.
This is, again, we're really kind of grasping for straws at some of these games. This is a rough card. Like, this is a rough card. There's very little meat on the bone. And there's a couple that I want to talk about that will. But, yeah, I guess I kind of thought about, Stony Brook's not good, but I think they could be getting a little better. And maybe this is just too many points. But, and this is kind of one of those regional matchups. Staten Island against, Long Island. These aren't incredibly far travel spots. There might be 40 people at this game, maybe, and 15 or 20 probably work in the building. So it ain't gonna, it's gonna be one of those kind of sleepy games. There is one game that I have interest in, and it's down in the Southland. Sela against Nicholls State, who, like I've said before, I think Nicholls is one of your better teams in this conference. And what do you think about this game? You feel, again, points. I think last time these two teams played, it was 101-93 or something. Boogie Johnson is a great big-time fullback type of guard for Southeast Louisiana State. Two teams I just think want to get downhill. We know the Southland, kind of the MEAC, SWAC. A lot of these conferences are very downhill, right? It's put the ball in your guard's hands, dribble drives, get to the foul line, that kind of stuff. Again, you have a high total here, but this game kind of screamed first to 85 wins to me.
That's pretty much what it was last year. They played 3 times last year. Scores were 83-81, 101-93, like you said, and then 77-72. That was like the rock fight version of this game, which is hard to envision.
Still high scoring, almost got to 150.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of like, because these teams don't have great plans in the half court or great, like, highly skilled creators, they do need to score in transition. It's like, we got to get downhill, we got to get going. That's Southland, SWAC are both very much like that. So yeah, it is high. I made the total a little bit lower, but it's like, am I going to tell you to take an under with 2 teams that are certainly going to play a track meet? No, I won't do that.
Right. And keep in mind, in that one game last year, you mentioned that was 77-72. Nicholls didn't have Ty Gordon, who was at the time their best player. They only had 8 free throws, I believe, in that game. So it was kind of one of those random kind of outlier things, which is likely to not happen again.
And it was the third game in 3 days. They were playing that like preseason tournament thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure the legs were kind of gone, and they still scored 150.
Yeah. I mean, you look at both these teams, right? So when you have an over-under, right, efficiency is important. But if you can get the 4 segments of the game, a team on offense and defense, another team on offense and defense, and if all 4 components are up and down, both teams are going to let you go in transition, both teams want to go in transition, you're going to have a lot of possessions. And again, more possessions lead to more shots, which leads to more points. It's pretty simple. So again, whenever you make a bet and whenever you bet on something, at least from my standpoint, I know you think the same way, ultimately the writing is on the wall with an over in this game, right? 155, 156, taking a game over. If it's 77-72, like you look at that Maryland UCLA game last night, how do you handicap a game like that? I mean, seriously. I mean, Tiger Campbell played 4 minutes in the first half, and they scored, 50 points? And we're up 30 at the half, I think. How do you handicap that stuff? You can handicap all you want. What I'm looking at and what I look at in this game, I see over. So,
That's the last night is an example of how I tend to gravitate towards higher volume because I'm hoping I can even out some of that like outlier outcomes by having more games. I respect people that are much more low volume, like yourself, because if I pick out like one or two a day, I'll drive myself nuts because I'll think about the ones I didn't play. So it's difficult. It's a tough balance when there's as many games as there are in college basketball, trying to figure out what your volume should be.
Yeah, no, and that's one of the things about, like a college football. I've always said I think college football is probably the easiest sport out of all the pro and college sports to handicap because there are a good amount of teams, but there aren't too many like in college basketball where there are like 200 more than college football. So yeah, I hear you. It's tough. So yeah, I think we kind of both agree over and Sela Nichols makes a whole lot of sense. A couple others that were interesting. Obviously, I think the game on the card that I think is probably most interesting is Santa Clara Irvine. Because these teams played last year. Clara blew a lead. They lose that game. Ultimately come back this year with a little revenge in their minds. These two teams aren't separated by a lot of distance. Santa Clara is kind of that up and down, good offensive team, right? Irvine kind of that play it, plotting defensive team, but have shot the ball really well. Now, I know a lot of people, like you read a Jordan Majewski or something, he'll say regression's coming, right? But I've always felt like I think you kind of just bet into it, and if it happens, it happens. The truth is, through a month or so of college hoops, Irvine shot the ball really well. Now, you also look at Irvine, don't have Colin Welp this year. It's a little different team. Santa Clara adds Pojemski, who's been awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, what did I hear they call him now? AirPod? Is that
AirPods? So yeah, basically the air thing.
Listen, a riveting player, a guy that, just he gets it done, man. Just a solid player. Keyshawn Justice, Badeko, they've got some real talent there. I watched them against DePaul. They were fun to watch, man. Just a good offensive team. But there's something that tells me that Russell Turner and that defense is what I want to back here. This number's ticking up, though, and going the other way. What were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, a certain large betting group, I can just say it, Raz, they did it publicly. They released that they're on Santa Clara. That usually leads to at least like a point and a half of line movement going up. So that would explain Santa Clara's. So if you want to chase the steam there, by all means, I guess you can go for the Broncos. I did lean the other way on Irvine. I know shooting regression is possibly coming there, but there's also like I've had a few this year where you bet against a team that's been hot shooting and then they're just hot again, and you're like, well, why did I think that would change? Like, of course, like they're on fire, or maybe the shooters aren't as bad as we thought in the preseason. So yeah, I ended up sitting this one out. I actually kind of like the over though. I think there will be points here. I think Santa Clara might dictate the pace at home a little bit. And hopefully for my bet's sake, Irvine stays kind of hot, but we'll see. That one's also been bet up a few points.
Yeah, I think the number kind of makes sense. Mid 140s here, probably. I agree though with the sharp. I lean Santa here a bit. I think Pojemski's the best player in the court. I think again, I don't foresee Irvine shooting like this. Throw in the fact that it's not your home gym. You got to go on the road a little bit. I like Santa Clara. This team can score, man. They're well coached. Herb Sendek, these are two good coaches in general.
Yep.
I kind of have some weird feeling that I don't know if it'll be the length of the domination that St. Mary's had, but this kind of reminds me a little bit of last night between Mexico State and St. Mary's. I feel like Irvine kind of playing well will just kind of run into kind of a wall here, not shoot the ball real well, maybe shoot 8 for 25 from 3. And, Santa Clara just does more offensively than they do. I feel like anything under 3, I probably have some interest in. But I think the problem with Clara is I always look at that game recently. Like, how do you lose to San Jose State by double digits? I don't –
yeah.
You just have some of these weird performances, right? So
they got down big to Portland State yesterday too, or 2 days ago. They're down like double digits in the first half. And it's like, wait, what's happening here? You're better than this. I don't know if they're losing focus.
I think they're a good, like, very small favorite or dog. I don't want to lay like 5, 6, 7 with this team. They play a lot of close games. I feel like I don't do this much, but if you like Santa Clara, maybe you just bite the bullet and pretend this is baseball. Pretend this is, $1.40 and you're just playing it. This is a hard game to lay 2.5 in. It just is because it could come. This could be 72-70 or something.
Yep.
Rob Branscombe says, "I don't like UC Irvine. I love UC Irvine." Well, Jim Root's someone in. I don't know if he loves them, but final game. And I remember talking about this one on Cyber Monday. I remember Seattle played Washington, and it's the only game that the Seattle Redhawks have lost this year. Now, outside of that, this schedule is a disaster. I don't know what Puget Sound is. I don't know if they played a bunch of SEALs or something. I don't know. But they won that game, and they've beaten a bunch of nobodies. Beat Portland, nice win there. And that one, I think, is the only game that kind of makes me look at it and say, wow, obviously Cameron Tyson's a terrific player, one of the best scorers in the country. Grigsby's back and looks to be healthy. Are you ready, though, to lay points with Seattle against a Pac-12 team?
I am. I'm doing it. I'm taking the -1.5.
I kind of agree with you.
Yeah. Oregon State's they're solid. They did get Christian Wright, their big Georgia transfer, eligible last game, but he did nothing at all. And they're just really young. I don't trust them against a team that can kind of force turnovers. And Seattle can. They can switch a ton. They're actually pretty long on the wing, which is surprising for a WAC team. I'm trusting Seattle here. I'm hoping Cam Tyson, the human flamethrower, is on fire, as he pretty much always is. I'll lay the 1.5 on the road at a Pac-12 squad. It feels weird, but this is a bad Pac-12 team.
You see a lot of 50s and low 60s for Oregon State. Not ideal. And this is a team that, last year really struggled. I mean, they were 3-28 last year. This is a far cry from the Elite Eight team a couple of years ago that came out of nowhere. So, yeah, I actually kind of agree with you a little bit. That Seattle gym is have you been there? That's a tough place, isn't it? Or this is in Oregon State, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but they have like the smallest gym in D1, I think. They have less than 1,000 people fit in their gym. It's tiny.
Yeah, I wish this was at Seattle because that gym is awesome. I watched the game last year where I think they played New Mexico State. It was awesome. But yeah, I kind of agree with you. I like Seattle a little bit here myself. Other than that, I mean, not much else here. I kind of felt like Colorado would kind of put North Alabama in a blender, kind of the way Wisconsin may put Lehigh in a blender. So I didn't have much there.
I'll anecdotally give, I don't have like data because it's hard to sort into this data set, but teams that are traveling like 2 time zones over or to altitude for no reason at all for one game have been pretty poor this year, whether it's Cal State Bakersfield going to Dartmouth and losing by 30, or now North Alabama going to Colorado, or some of these East Coast teams going out to California for one game. St. Francis, Pennsylvania just played at Hawaii for no reason and lost by 30.
Weird.
I think there's a lot of quit factor if you're just like, why are we here? Let's go back home. So that would be the angle for that game.
Mant 1023 saying, what is your take on Nuga tonight? Well, let me ask you, Jim. Was there a better dog? Like when Dan Earl was at VMI, they were a great ATS team. Like,
yes.
Why are they getting 6 tonight? I didn't really get this one too much. I mean, they've played really well recently. I mean, I thought they looked really good against Murray. Some of their wins, I mean, there's nothing wrong with losing to Charleston or Ole Miss, even Lipscomb. I mean, all solid teams. Dan Earl team's going to shoot a lot of threes, kind of helter-skelter offensively. But I'll tell you right now, and I remember him when he was at VMI, Jake Stevens is a beast. I mean, he is a really, really good player. And you look at so far this season, I mean, last 3 games, I mean, let's just talk about the last 2 games that mattered. 31 against Milwaukee, 27 at Webb, 27 at Texas Tech, 27 against Murray State. I mean, this guy's been awesome, even at this new spot.
Yeah, their local coverage calls him like mid-major white Joel Embiid. I'm like, that's an interesting comparison. But yeah, like he can shoot, he can block shots, he can pass, he does everything for them. The one problem with Nuga right now is their point guard's been banged up. Dalvin White missed a couple games. He might play today. We don't know. I don't think even their team knows. I think he's a true game time decision. But the freshman point guard, Brody Robinson's filled in admirably, I suppose. And I think 6 is a little too many. So if I had to bet this, it would be Chapman.
Something about this, though, and I'm never one to believe in like kind of weird lines in these kind of games just because no one's really betting them. But this did seem a strike high. I feel like this was 3.5. It'd be VMI outright. But it's at 5.5. It almost tells me like they're not going to get good point guard play. And again, that's the problem when you have a really good big. you can have a really good big, but if you can't get the basketball to him, you're going to have some problems. Throw in the fact that, Nuga's got to go on the road here. This is kind of an in-state type of thing. And I think, look, Middle Tennessee is in that upper echelon of teams they played. And we'll just be honest. I mean, they lost all 3 of the upper echelon games they've played against, they didn't cover. So that's a little worrisome if you're Nuga here. I like Stevens, but as Jim alluded to, they've got some problems at guard right now. So,
yeah.
But you know what? I'll say this. I mean, I thought Queens had some problems with their guards, and they went in and did pretty good things against ETSU. So I don't know. It's all effing mess right now, to be honest. Jim, let me ask you something real quick. There's all these games on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
I see Toledo Marshall. Can you put a total high enough in that one?
I looked at that today, and it's insane. I think Toledo's 9-1 to the over, or maybe 10-0. And yeah, Marshall's going to run with them. It's going to be a complete shootout. It's going to be over 160. The total will be.
But it's like that's the old Citadel type of games, where it's like Citadel against VMI, where it's like they get to 100 in regulation, right?
Yep.
But I'm sure the way it's been going for me, it'll be first to 60 wins. But Jim, condensed card today. Good to see you. How's everything going at 3-Man Weave? Have you guys been having success or struggling as well?
Our public picks have been pretty average to blah. The ones we do on Field of 68 have been like 500 basically. We've done okay on our. We do a couple extra ones on Action Network that on the app that we discuss. They're not like an individual bet; they're the group bets, and those have actually made some money this year. But who knows? That'll come crashing down soon enough.
By the way, Sela, if we go back to that game, they're 8-2 to the over, so they're pretty damn good to the over themselves. So yeah, a lot of high scoring games in this series. I think that's the only game I'd consider tonight, to be real fair. What a wild question. Any thoughts on Bradley, Arkansas for Saturday?
I have to write that up for Action Network. I'll be hammering out like 600 words on that game.
I like Arkansas a lot. They're without Trayvon Brazile, going to move on, but Nick Smith, one of the top freshmen in the country. They're really deep, and Bradley's had some major injury problems. But Jim, good to see you. Hope everybody's well with you. Next week we'll figure out what we're gonna do. But if I don't see you, have a great holiday, my man. We'll probably see you in the new year.
Appreciate it. Sounds good. Yeah, have a great holiday.
Good seeing you. You can follow Jim on Twitter at Second Chance Points. Jim, good to see you. We'll talk to you soon.
Cheers. See you.
Thanks, buddy. Good to see Jim Root as always. All right, guys, what we'll do now, chat's kind of calmed down a little bit. So if you have any questions on really anything, you're welcome to ask. I'm sure I missed some things here. So if you have a comment or question, look, there are just certain questions I don't know the answer to, guys. I can't answer the questions that are some, like, I don't know what the future holds, right, with certain people. I, again, kind of set forth what I'm going to do. The thought as what he's going to do, that's up to him. I do want to quickly mention Niners and Seahawks tonight, because I've told you guys I don't bet Thursday night games. Not really my thing. I don't like it. I think it's obviously been clear for a lot of these teams. They've kind of made the point that they don't like these games. They don't want to play these games. But when I look at this game, I have interest because I've said before, I think the Niners are the biggest threat to the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC. I think defensively they're really good. We know that. And I think really any quarterback at the NFL level can play in that system with those playmakers, with that offensive line. It's a really good spot to be in if you are a quarterback. And what did we see from Brock Purdy? Last week, he was the man. All week we've heard about it. He's the man. He can do it. Kind of reminiscent of maybe like a Nick Foles type of situation, right? You also look at the fact that, the Niners absolutely owned this team earlier this season, 27-7. But the Seattle Seahawks are fighting for their life right now, fighting for their life. I think their defense is better than people think it is. I really like their secondary. They're at home in this game, and they're getting 3 and a hook. You look at the past 4 games between these groups. Seattle's won 3 out of the 4. Now, again, those were better Seattle. Well, those were worse Niner teams, let's say. I don't know if they were better Seattle teams, though. The Seattle team is looked great offensively all season. They're averaging over 26 points a game. Geno Smith has answered the call. Something tells me, man, this game comes down to a field goal. I think you're going to obviously get the upper echelon, one of the better upper echelon fan bases in the NFL. And, we've heard all week about Brock Purdy. Remember, he's Brock Purdy. You're pretty much on the same level from a quarterback standpoint here. To me, I think the Seattle Seahawks hang around. I like the spot for them tonight. Throw in the fact that, the actual money being wagered is on Seattle. So that's enticing to me. What is your take on Rico coming back? Listen, Shiv, I as far as this question, I kind of spent the first 15 minutes on this. I would highly recommend rewinding and watching it. It's kind of too much to just kind of give you in a sentence or two. So I would highly recommend checking that out. As far as going after his family, I've said what I would have done in that situation. And if I knew it was him, I'm not going to say what I would do because, there's no reason for me to. But trust me, I would, and as I said before, I would have no problem facing the what would happen after. I would feel okay. I would feel proud with what I did. Honestly, a situation with Rico and Nadu when they're always down each other's throats, but always make up in the end would be entertaining. It's all in good fun. That's what Barstool is. It's all just having a good time and not taking a joke too serious. Streams would be incredible. I think a lot would open up, right? A lot of stuff would open up for, I think, everybody. Because I think what happens is when you have beef, sometimes it makes other people walk on eggshells, right? Certain people feel like they have to act differently. And I think someone said it on Pick Central. When you're friends with somebody, maybe then it starts to hurt friendships with other people, right? Or, maybe they don't now like you because you have a beef with that. Like, there's a lot that goes into that, right? It's been a long odyssey, man. It would be crazy, man, to walk into Barstool whenever I'm up there and just not have to worry about that shit anymore, right? Like, it would be crazy. It would be cool, it would be. And I think maybe Big Ev or somebody said it. He said, I think your life would be so different if you just kind of entertain things, right? And we're willing to be kind of that chameleon. You can do all the things. You can be involved in other things. People can be on the stream. It would open up a lot, I think, right? So, and that doesn't mean I think that's the good thing about what you're saying is just because, let's say Rico and I shake hands, right? And we move on and maybe we do some content together. That doesn't mean we can't ever have an argument again. People are going to disagree on shit. We're not going to act fake, right? If I say something that he doesn't agree with, he should call it out. It just doesn't get to the point where we're taking it to the next level where it's fuck you, I'm going to go after this person. That's where we don't need to go. There's nothing wrong with, in fact, people love conflict, but conflict to the point at most at Barstool, in fact, everyone is, you have conflict occasionally, you make good. Brandon Walker and I, prime example. I don't know what the fuck's up his ass about me. He just thinks he is, and we've talked about that. I don't need to go into it again, but him and I, we may argue, but there's an occasional time where him and I'll sit down and we'll, with the other people, talk about football, and it's a great conversation. We don't have to, I don't think Brandon Walker particularly likes me, but I think when the rubber meets the road, I think he respects some of the football and sports betting knowledge that I have. And I think there's a mutual kind of respect there. Do I ever think Brandon Walker and I will go out and have dinner together? Probably not. I would enjoy it because I actually think he's super interesting and I find him to be a fascinating cat. But, you don't like everybody you work with. It just doesn't always work like that. All right. I'm doing well, Sam. How you doing? Christopher Gallegos says, I'm a rider. That's okay. I don't think we've ever kicked anyone out for that before. What are the top 5 racks in 2022? Sweeney, Pelosi, and I don't know if I can go after any others. What's my favorite sport to wager on? Bowl games. Or not bowl games, college football. College football. All right. How's your relationship with Jerry? Good. I was texting him the other day. I think we're fine, him and I. Um, I have an idea with him actually. I've told him about it. So yeah, Jerry's a guy that I think he completely understands Barstool, right? He gets what you do, what you don't do. Like he's definitely a guy that's definitely risen up, and I think you got to be happy for him, you know. But all right, guys, I am out of here. I hope you all enjoy your night. I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. We will be back for one more day tomorrow, Friday. We'll talk a little bit about the bowl season. As far as bowls tomorrow, I definitely have some interest in Miami O plus 11 against Alabama Birmingham. I feel like there is some issues there off the field and against that quarterback. Miami O is a good, solid football team, good defensive group, will very much be ready to go. They're a team that always just wants to get to a bowl game every year. They're well coached. They have a dual threat quarterback that can give UAB some problems. And I heard that UAB is not completely happy with the decision to not hire Vincent as the head coach. So maybe that kind of treads into what we have going on tomorrow. So yeah, I've had a good football season. I will be on Miami O plus 11 for sure. So bowl games are here, man. It's best time of the year, one of the best times of the year. So, all right, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I will see you tomorrow here on Big Man on